From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Sammy The Bull Gravano, with Gina Grad on news and Bald Bryan on sound effects. And now, his mob nickname was The Brillo. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The choice was going to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bald Bryan.
What in the white nonsense is this?
All right, stuff to talk about before we get to Sammy the Bull.
Does it have anything to do with that?
We'll get into
Okay.
all of what Gina's pointing to at some point.
What that is.
Sammy the Bull. Everyone knows the name. I don't know if everyone knows what he's accused of or what he did or how his trajectory was. So I just had Kaylin read me his bio, and I thought Dawson should just read Sammy the Bull's bio so we're all sort of tuned up for when he comes in.
He confessed to involvement in 19 murders as a government witness, agreed to turn state's evidence in 1991 and testify against John Gotti. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, having already served 4, then entered witness protection in Arizona, which he left in 1995. He ran a major ecstasy trafficking organization in the 90s, grossing $500,000 a week. Arrested on state and federal drug charges in 2000 and sentenced to 20 years. Released from prison in September of 2017, he played a key role in planning and executing the 1985 murder of Gambino boss Paul Castellano, soon after which he became underboss for the family. Born in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, New York, both of his parents were from Sicily. Father ran a small dress factory and maintained a good standard of living.
Oh, nice.
Favored emphasizing more sophisticated schemes involving construction, trucking, and garbage disposal, instead of loan sharking, gambling, and hijackings. He joined the Rampers, a prominent street gang in Bensonhurst at age 13. Drifted into the La Cosa Nostra and became a particular favorite of family boss Joe Colombo. He was initiated into the Gambino family as a made man in 1976 and committed his first murder in 1970 when he shot Joseph Colucci in the head. He got the nickname Sammy because someone once said he looked like his Uncle Sammy. 2 made men saw him fight a few kids at once who stole his bike, and they told him he fought like a bull.
And that's where the name comes from. So we'll talk to him, see what he's up to. He's doing a podcast. God.
My question is always, if you turn state's witness and do all this stuff and go into witness protection, how confident are you doing things like this? I mean, do you just outlive everybody that would have a grievance against that?
I guess at a certain point, I mean, also, I don't know, it was well chronicled in the Steve Martin film, My Blue Heaven.
That's true.
But you take these guys, you picture the scene from Goodfellas where Ray Liotta's, getting the table at the Copa, and then you picture him at some, 2-bedroom, 1,200-foot place outside of Phoenix, and you take that guy and you go, you're going to go from all the action to none of the action. How long is that guy going to be in that environment?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? The only person I've known who was able to pull that off was Teresa Strasser.
Turn state's witness.
She moved to Arizona. I was like,
did.
you'll be back.
No.
And she never
Doing
came
well.
back.
She's got a prize in her head.
She's doing well. All right, so we'll talk to him about that. I had a funny thing. I got a note from someone at the kids' school a couple days ago, and it's, I don't know, COVID protocol. But then under the name, the pronouns were given as we have. I don't know. Can you opt out of pronouns? Just not put your pronouns on your thing, but you have to give your pronouns. And then under it, it said, home of the Spartans. And I thought to myself, wow, we go from pronouns, we drop down a 1/4 inch, and it's home of the most vicious fighting force in the world. Sure. And I thought, you could get no further from the Spartans than pronouns.
They, them.
Yes. And then also I started thinking about it when they do the he, him, his stuff on there. You had me at he.
Yeah.
I can do I can cascade from
Once
there.
you do the he.
I took an English class.
Yeah.
I can conjugate
Right.
from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, no one's ever going to go, give he keys so he can leave. Like, we'll do the math after you just do the he. It's a little less obnoxious. We got you.
Yeah.
All right, so pronouns are now a thing. Also got this is a step further, got an email from a producer on one of the networks. It's a female, and it said, not only do we get the pronouns, but it said, I stand against injustice. I support humanity. Now you have to now lay out your bona fides.
I would have assumed you did.
Everyone stands against injustice. It's 2021. You work in the TV industry. You're in Los Angeles. We get it, hero.
Can I one up you? Took Andy to Hamilton last night. Oh, nothing. And it was glorious and amazing and beautiful and perfect. I'm reading the bios, and there's a lot of pronouns in the bios. The bio for an actor in a touring company of Hamilton wanted to make sure that we knew that they thought Black Lives Matter and trans lives matter. I would assume you would think that. And I'm down. But you needed to save that space in the bio.
Yeah, I ironically, if you're reading the playbill of a play that was acted out by longshoremen, it would actually get you some clarity.
It would be a conversation piece.
Not in a Broadway musical. No. All right. Also,
how was Hamilton?
It was beautiful.
How long was it?
Like 2.5. But it was, it was interesting. I'm not poo-pooing any part of it. And we all got used to seeing, the big, glorious original version that they put on Disney Plus. But everyone was outstanding in the energy. I have to say, the least dynamic characters, Hamilton and the two Schuyler sisters. And everybody else was incredible, but they a little understated for what this musical is supposed to be. But it was unbelievable.
Really?
A little playing a little close to the vest. Oh, yeah.
How do you think you pass that audition if you're that?
Interesting, because I'm obsessed with reading bios. I take it all in about 10 minutes before the show, and then during the intermission, I have to go back and study it because now I know who I'm looking at and what they've done. I'm obsessed. And I think the guy who played Hamilton won multiple awards for playing Hamilton in England.
Star.
Yeah, maybe he just was not into a Tuesday night crowd. I don't know.
Semi-ironically, I was just having this conversation over the weekend with somebody who's a big Hamilton fan in the production, the one we all know. Hamilton himself was maybe the weak link.
That's a lot of people feel that way.
Bad, but there are people that were luminescent stars, and there's Hamilton. It's he's pretty good.
You're absolutely right, and that's part of it. Maybe we all got used to what we got used to, and wow, he's playing a little too real. But it was beautiful. The songs, I know them all backward and forward, and they had a new life. I highly recommend going if you can still get tickets.
Gaying. All right.
I'm sorry. Can I show you what I saw on the way home from Hamilton?
Yes.
Remember a while back when I showed you a picture of this 2-story structure that was built under the Cahuenga Pass in Hollywood? It's gotten, I don't want to call it a facelift, a paint job. Here's what we passed, and I had to take a quick picture last night because we were driving the other. That was coming up to it. Is there another one? Yeah. A lot more colorful. I think it says no mask, no vax, no problem. It says weed. It's a lot more colorful, but there's still the 2-story slide.
Right.
Wow.
There's still the slide. Yeah.
Oofa.
It is. Yes.
So good luck walking under there if you're trying to get into Hollywood.
Yeah. It is. We're literally building in a place that is amongst the most difficult regions in the world to obtain a building permit. We're now building on city sidewalks with zero permit and zero problems.
Coming upstairs.
They can't be up to code.
I passed by when I was driving out to the marina the other day. I drove through Venice and just saw the row of RVs that are parked. And I also thought we have two, there's two things in Los Angeles that we're kind of wacky about. And one is building and any kind of permitting, but the other is where you park. Like we are insane about parking.
Yes.
And the notion that there's all these RVs just stacked up and people living out of them, the notion that they have wheels and they're parked on a city street. I mean, look, you park in a handicap zone, it's $700. You go through the diamond lane, it's $450. Your bumper's hanging a quarter inch into the red paint. You're going to get a full ticket. We are very particular about our parking here. I told you guys when I did a man show bit once, I was out on the street in Melrose, and I was doing a man on the street bit, and some woman got parked, got out of her car, was walking for the meter, and I like slid in and with the camera and was like doing a kind of man on the street. She got a ticket
while she was
on her way to the meter. Yes, because I slid in and interrupted her action for 10 seconds. The point is you can just park huge rotting Winnebagos on the street and just live. And by the way, Venice isn't Beverly Hills or Malibu, but the average price of a house there is $2.2 million.
Easily.
Like you're dealing with very expensive real estate.
Oceanfront property.
And you got RVs parked in front. By the way, if you have a neighbor with an RV that they just park in front of their house, it's mildly annoying.
I would say. Yes, that happened to me.
Yeah, you could imagine a wagon train between, you walk down your front driveway and you're staring at the side of an RV because there's a wagon train of them.
And this isn't the shiny ones at the toy hauler convention. These are not nice looking.
No, and obviously we just need to move and act and get rid of all this stuff. And I was thinking about it because I was talking to Dr. Drew about this. And I made a note. Yeah, so it's always like we like to talk like root causes. Like what are the root causes? Like what are the root causes of homelessness? Or what's the root cause of everything? Or you could just tow the fucking RV and we could get on with our lives. But it's like root cause. And I always think back on my grandfather, who I actually looked up. I was like, when did Grandpa die? 1997, July of 1997. I kind of remember where I was when I got the phone call.
Are we talking about Laszlo?
Laszlo Gorog, yeah. I kind of remember because somebody sent me a bunch of clips from Hollywood Squares. And I was trying to think, like, what year is that from? Well, I knew it had to be before my grandfather died because we all remember the story of him being underwhelmed that his loser grandson was on his favorite TV show.
Well, he is part of the family.
Yeah.
Right. So it was Hollywood Squares before that. But root causes, it's funny. So when I used to wet the bed when I was a kid, my mom and others were more like the L.A. Chamber of Commerce or the L.A. City Council or legislator. Like they were looking for something that didn't exist. It was like, well, he has emotional problems, and the bedwetting is really just a manifestation of these mental issues he's having, and maybe he needs therapy because the repressed urine or something. It was all this pie in the sky nonsense bullshit talk, but old school grandpa's the one who would just watch Carson, turn the TV off at 1 a.m. and then walk past me sleeping on his sofa after I went to bed at 9:30, and he'd just wake me up, hold a bucket, and I would piss into the bucket.
Man of action.
Yes, that was like, he was a boots on the ground kind of guy. Never wet his sofa because he just woke me up. He woke me up at 1 a.m. and he said, piss in the bucket. And I pissed in the bucket. I don't know why I had to piss in a bucket.
Why a bucket? Like one of those ionized like garden metal buckets?
We're not animals, Gina.
Okay.
No, it was, I think it was an old school like plastic mop bucket. And the reason I peed in the bucket is because there was only one bathroom and that was in their room.
Oh, sure.
So I would have had to make my way through euphemistically called a master bedroom for lack of a better term. It was the bedroom, the only bedroom in the house, had the bathroom attached to it, the only bathroom in the house. was attached to the only bedroom in the house. So I don't think he wanted me walking out and waking grandma up. So
That's smart.
he'd make his little, he'd wake me up, this little noise, had these little noises, and he'd wake me up, and then he'd just, point at the bucket, and I'd be like half asleep. But I pissed, man. Like, I had to pee. I was going to wet my bed an hour and 20 minutes later, but he woke me up.
Yeah.
And think about it. Like, why are we talking about, like, emotional and psychological? I had a full bladder. I drained the bladder, and I fell back to sleep, and that was it.
It's funny because in therapy, it's like, old school analysis, like, oh, but we got to get to the root and why. Nobody really does that anymore. It's behavioral therapy. Okay, we don't really care why. Let's just get you to change the behavior. And I got to tell you, it works like magic.
All right. Well, a little more of that would be good with the homeless situation out here. Also,
Do you guys have noises?
What do you mean?
Do you make a noise for? I'll give you an example. Christy hates it. She hates it so much, and she's told me so many times. But I go psst, psst, to get her attention.
Oh, that's annoying.
Not all the time, but typically in like a crowd,
Yeah.
like at a party or a dinner or the store, you know what I mean, or whatever. Walking because she goes, I hate that. I'm like, it works every single time. Psst, her head just shoots up like a fucking meerkat.
I hate it.
It works.
My one rich friend.
If I need to get hold, if I don't yell across, the restaurant, Christy.
I had one rich friend. His name was Tom. He was black, and he was the one guy I knew. His dad was a hand surgeon. And when I was in high school, he had a whistle, and he'd go, when I say I can't whistle, he'd go, hoo-hoo,
Yeah.
hoo-hoo, and he'd whistle it. And if we were like at a party that he showed up at or at some crowded place or school assembly or something, he'd just come in and go, and we'd go, huh, what? Where's Tom? And we just like, turn around. I wasn't annoyed by it. I said, that's his siren song.
$10 says their family had a family whistle because we had a family whistle.
Oh, you did?
It would be like, it was not tough.
The shofar? Just blow
Tequila.
it.
It was the same. The only noise I make that everybody hates, but everyone's used to it now, and I try not to do it on the show, is
That's awful. That's terrible.
it's to like scratch my throat.
It sounds like Phil before he brings up a moccasin.
Yeah, it's like a cross between like a pig and I guess
terrible.
just a pig.
It's very, very, very ear, nose, and throat.
Yeah, they always call it the grad boy itch, but I got it too.
Here, let me ask you something. Unless we have more to say about sounds, but it just occurred to me. You're always going on about family and education, being the root cause of so many of the problems in certain communities, which I agree with. If you want to, fix those problems, it's not free lunch, like you say. It's not this. It's not food stamps. It's not that. It's not welfare. It's fix the root of the problem. Why that there and not here with homelessness? I feel like it's the same thing.
Well,
not the same thing, but the same strategy.
Well, here's what I think with, yes, it is. It is. It's always family and education. But I think with homelessness here, first off, you have a lot of people from other, all right.
Forget about family education. Why not attack the root problem with homelessness,
so family and
as we would with other problems?
All right, so here's my take on that. I'm all for family and education as a kind of prophylactic. Once you get into prison, it's kind of hard to build a time machine. These people, that ship has sailed. I suspect many of these people, all these people, are schizophrenic, drug addict, or all the above with all kinds of mental whatever. They also probably all come here, not all, many come here from somewhere else. Sure. These are not all Los Angelinos that are on the sidewalk.
Better to live on the street here than in, Provo.
Yeah, the weather's good.
It's probably pretty clean there.
The weather's good, and we are hospitable. Okay, so they come here. I am guessing that all of these people wore through their friends and family. Too many episodes, too much, dad's going, you can sleep on the sofa, but if you're sober, if you're not sober, you can't stay in the house. Too many crazy, moms waking up with someone standing at the foot of their bed with a machete. And they probably burned through whatever system they possibly had. Some didn't have a very good system at the beginning. Most people have some system, couple of high school friends. I mean, and we've all crashed at people's houses and sort of sofa surfed a little bit, not couch surf, alliteration. But I think they burnt through their system and now they're here and they need to enter our system. But yes, I would obviously prefer everyone. Because look, I hate when people speak this way, but whoever you're passing on the sidewalk, that's somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's ex-best friend from high school or teammate on varsity, water polo or something.
At some point.
They had something. Yeah. I think they stole too much, went through too much. And this is how I know it's got to be drugs or schizophrenia or whatever it is. Because if it's as the great Gavin Newsom says, the mother of three who has a full-time job and is getting paid minimum wage is as if the difference between you hitting the sidewalk is $3.50 an hour being tacked on to your wages. But if that, in fact, is the person, if that person is intact mentally and not addicted to anything, the people, you could argue that the poor people, the minimum wagers with the kids, minus the drugs and minus the mental issues, their community is bigger and stronger than rich guys. I mean,
absolutely.
I know people that are rich, but we don't all go to the park together for the kid's birthday and hang the piñata and cook for everybody and meals. Yes. And there's a group. There's coworkers. There's a bunch of people. And if you kind of study, for me, I mean, I got it from doing construction all those years with a bunch of poor Hispanics. They got a community, they
network.
Gather together, they go to church, they go to the parks, they congregate, they cook meals, big meals like together and stuff like that. So if one of them lost their job, or not even lost their job, their husband moved to Florida, then there'd be some staying in the spare bedroom or putting up an air mattress in the garage for a few weeks until they could get back on their feet or what have you. It wouldn't be that. By the way, California hasn't charged rent in 2 years. I don't know how you're getting booted out of your place and hitting the street if you're not actually having to pay rent.
That's true. Didn't you tell us that there was like a strong Hungarian artistic community when your grandfather moved here? Like, this is a long story tradition of certain ethnic groups, helping each other.
Yeah, there were a group of Hungarian writers and creators in Hollywood, like in the 40s. And when my grandfather got here, didn't speak the language very well, didn't have any money, and they kind of cobbled some money together, gave him a stipend, tried to get him involved with some of their projects, helped translate and type, some of his stories.
It's not a new idea. This is what communities
it's pretty
do.
old. It takes a village.
Yeah.
All right. Also, let's see. What else did I put on my notes? Oh, I got a nasal swab today, and I got to do some TV show tomorrow. I can't remember which one. Some CNN Inventions or something. I don't know the name of the show. I'll figure it out. But had to be tested with the rapid test.
Have they moved away from the brain scrape? They're just doing the inside of the nose now?
No, but they did something that was interesting. So I had the nurse show up. She's doing the rapid test, and she handed me the swab and said, you can do it yourself. And I said, oh,
can't be
okay.
trusted.
Can do.
And I put it up my ass, and I handed it back to her. And she handed it to me, and she goes, just go ahead and swab it out and hand it back. And I said, okay. And she said, see if you can get to the notch. There's a notch in the handle. See if you can make it to the notch.
Knuckle deep.
I looked at the notch. The notch is 3 inches down the pipe. Now, we're showing it, but you have to pull the notch. You have to sort of blow it up to catch the notch. The notch is...
That's halfway down the straw.
It's 3.5 inches down the straw. It's like, look, it can go in. Eventually, it's going to stop, or it's going to hit an eyeball, or a frontal lobe.
Some membrane or something meant to be tickled.
That's insane.
I told her that.
Have you guys? Am I the one in this building who's had that one? Like the one where the guy did
never.
it for me too.
No.
He's like, lean your head back.
Not that one. I've never had. I couldn't do it.
It was way up there.
I put it up about about an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, halfway to the notch, and then it just stopped. Like at a certain point, that's all I got.
Not enough grit.
No more real estate.
She said, yeah, just rub it around and give it back to me. The notch is sort of
No, ma'am.
The notch is that thing, it's when you used to play pinball and the high score was up there, or Galactica or whatever it is. Galaga. Yeah, or whatever.
He had the mallet.
Yeah, that was a high score that was on top with the guy's initials next to it.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to meet the American who made it to that notch. That notch is. I got good eyeballs. It is 3 1/4 inches. It is essentially you taking half a ballpoint pen and putting it up there.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody might make it to that notch. All right. Also, I was watching Hard Knocks training camp last night.
Who is it?
Dallas Cowboys. The best 4 episodes on TV because it's just kind of the ultimate drama. The guys, everyone's got to make the cut now. They're going to reduce down to the 55-man roster, and promising quarterback throws 3 picks. And by the way, that's it. You're not back. Like when I went and took Steven the electrician to try out to be a kicker for the Arena League, they're just like, we put one center 40 yards out. We want one to the right, one to the left, hash, and you kick it. And if you miss any of them, that's it. There's no I had a bad day or come back tomorrow or it's whatever. You
don't get another 16 bars at an audition to sing.
That's right.
That's your chance.
Gang. Point is,
as Jerry Jones said.
I was watching it, and one of the players, one of the rookies, had goggles, like glasses, like rookie running backs got the glasses on under the helmet. Interesting. I was saying to Sonny, you got to watch Hard Knocks training camp. It's the best show. And he's like, how many are there? I'm like, 4. I'm like, all right.
How is he not all about that?
That's what I said. And I screamed, "You're not my son," as loud as I could. And then I calmed myself and I said, well, we should watch it. He goes, nah, I'll wait till it's done. I'll watch them all.
Yeah, that's how the kids do it.
No, just watch every Tuesday. They come out. They're great. It's like, no, I need to watch them all.
That's generational.
Not satisfying.
No. He wants to binge it.
Yeah, but where's the foreplay, man? All right. So anyway, I was watching it, and they pointed at the guy with the goggles, and someone says, you look like Chuck Muncie, and you look like Eric Dickerson, 2 guys who famously wore kind of the glasses and the goggles in the league. And, of course, he's 23 and goes, who? And then nobody knows less about guys who played in the league than guys who are in the league currently. That's the one thing you'll learn from watching Hard Knocks training camp. But anyway, so I thought, yeah, Chuck Muncie. This is an interesting guy. He's really like the first guy to wear kind of glasses, goggles in the league. I remember him as a San Diego Charger. Big running back, tons of potential. So, of course, I do what I do. I put it on pause, and I got to wonder, where's Chuck Muncie? Is he alive? What's he doing? And I told Dawson to just grab Chuck Muncie's story because there's really not a human being. I just got done looking up my grandfather. Mm-hmm. There's really nobody, except for maybe my mom and my dad, who you'd like Google their life and go, wow, this is crazy. It's all kind of interesting, and it's all tragic.
Right.
Oh, great.
Did he have like this Terminator-style situation?
He had, we looking at Chuck Muncie?
I think so.
Yeah, he was an all-pro running back who wore kind of the goggles, pre-goggles, or, he had thick prescription glasses that he wore. But anyway, the great all-pro Chuck Muncie.
Muncie was born and raised in the Pittsburgh area town of Uniontown, Pennsylvania, as one of 6 children in a football-playing family. His 3 brothers called him Chuck because they did not like the name Harry.
Okay.
And that was his original name, Harry Vance Muncie. But they just called him Chuck. When he was 6, Muncie was hit by a truck, breaking his thigh, leg, hip, and arm. He was in a cast from his neck to his toes for 6 months.
Jesus.
And doctors warned that he might never be able to walk properly again.
Of course, the doctors. He's all pro in the league, 14 years later.
And I don't care how many stories of breaking things you've heard. Have you ever heard of someone breaking their thigh? You
At age
never
6,
hear that.
That's tough, yeah.
Muncie recovered to become a multi-sport athlete, but the accident left his left leg shorter than his right. He compensated by playing with a shoe with an extra thick sole.
Have you ever heard of an NFL running back with the add-a-leaf sole?
No, never heard of that.
With Muncie's father disabled, Muncie's mother led the household and ensured that her kids were educated. After seeing many of his relatives suffer from black lung disease and severe burns, Muncie had no desire to work in coal mines or the steel mills. He viewed athletics as his way out of Uniontown. In his sophomore year at Uniontown Area High School, Muncie played football. However, he quit playing after 3 games during his senior year when he suffered a concussion, and his mother wanted him to stop playing. He turned to basketball, averaging 18 points per game for the Uniontown Red Raiders and earning an athletic scholarship to play basketball for Arizona Western Junior College, now Arizona Western College. While at Arizona Western, the football coach convinced Muncie to try out for football as well, and Muncie made the team. He never played basketball for the school, and he received a scholarship from the University of California, Berkeley, after 1 year. At Berkeley, Muncie was a star running back for the California Golden Bears during the 1970s. He was big, fast, and elusive, and a good receiver. He was instrumental in Cal's NC2A leading offense, which propelled the team to the co-championship of the Pac-8 in 1975. And he became the first Golden Bear to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Muncie set the school's single-season records for rushing yards, all-purpose yards, and rushing touchdowns. He was a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy behind 2-time winner Archie Griffin of Ohio State. Muncie outrushed and outscored Griffin, but Ohio State was 11-0 and ranked number 1 at the time.
Interesting.
Muncie was awarded the 1975 W.J. Voigt Memorial Trophy as the outstanding football player on the Pacific Coast. He finished his college career and then school career records for rushing yards, 3,052, rushing touchdowns, 32, 100-yard rushing games, 15, and all-purpose yards, 4,194.
So
We're still in college?
you grow up in this, mining town. You get hit by a truck, and your dad's disabled, so things don't start off that well. But
Everyone you know has the black lung.
Uphill
Right.
climb.
I think all black people have that. That's
true.
Look into that.
You're right.
No,
I'm
their
sorry.
lungs are actually pink. Yeah, they are. No, just like yours and
All
mine.
right.
No.
Hold on. Let me just talk to Drew, and we'll pick this up tomorrow.
Settle the score.
Point is next thing you know, he's runner-up in the Heisman, and he's going to Cal. I mean, what could be further from a mining town than Berkeley? And now he's going high in the NFL draft.
This next line feels like a non sequitur. I'm sure it'll come back to it. But in his senior year in 1976, Muncie began using cocaine. He graduated from Berkeley with a Bachelor of Arts degree in school social studies with a minor in business. Muncie was inducted into the Cal Athletic Hall of Fame in 1995. Muncie was selected by the New Orleans Saints in the first round with 3rd overall selection of the 1976 NFL Draft. Muncie teamed with Saints' 2nd-round pick, Tony Galbraith, to form a backfield dubbed by then-coach Hank Stram as Thunder and Lightning.
How original.
Muncie played in the Pro Bowl after the 1979 season with the Saints and was selected as the most valuable player of the game. He was the first Saints player to be named to the Pro Bowl and also was the first Saints player to ever reach the 1,000-yard rushing plateau when he ran for a then-team record of 1,198 yards in 1979. Coming from the tolerant environment in Berkeley, it was a culture shock for Muncie in New Orleans, where his house and car were regularly vandalized by racists, despite his living in a nice neighborhood. He frequently expressed his unhappiness in New Orleans. Saints coach Dick Nolan grew tired of Muncie being late for meetings and practices. After the Saints began the 1980 season with an 0-4 record, they traded Muncie to the 4-0 Chargers.
Yeah.
Mid-season trade.
Your bolts, Dawson.
Yeah, probably a bye week, though. With the Chargers, Muncie was selected for the Pro Bowl twice as a member of their high-scoring Air Coryell offense. He also appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated 2 additional times during the NFL playoffs. He enjoyed his best season in 1981 when he ran for 1,144 yards and 19 touchdowns, tying the then NFL season record for rushing touchdowns. He went on to rush for 120 yards and a touchdown in San Diego's 41-38 win over the Miami Dolphins in a famous playoff game known as the Epic in Miami, and 94 yards in the AFC title game known as the Freezer Bowl. Muncie also helped lead the team to 2 AFC West Division championships. After the 1982 season, former New Orleans teammate Don Reese said he used cocaine with Muncie during their time with the Saints. Muncie said that he had cut down on his cocaine since his trade to San Diego.
It's not a diet.
He admitted he still had a problem with alcohol and marijuana, and he underwent an initial round of rehabilitation. However, after missing a bed check and a practice during training camp, he underwent 3 weeks of additional rehabilitation and returned for the start of the 1983 season. Before the second game of 1984 against the Seattle Seahawks, Muncie missed the team's charter flight from San Diego. When he arrived in Seattle, he told coach Don Coryell that vandals slashed the tires on his car. Coryell didn't believe him and sent him back to San Diego. 2 days later, Muncie was traded to the Miami Dolphins for a second-round draft pick. At the time, he was the NFL's 13th leading rusher of all time, with 6,702 yards. However, the trade was voided after a urinalysis conducted by the Dolphins showed cocaine in his system. Afterwards, Muncie entered an Arizona drug rehabilitation center for a month. On November 15th, he was suspended indefinitely by the NFL. He never played another NFL game. In March 1985, Chargers owner Alex Spanos said Muncie would never play for the Chargers again, even if his suspension was lifted.
He then was found basically living under a bridge and in like 89, and I think died of a heart attack in 2013 at age 60.
In the late 1980s, Muncie was found unwashed and homeless by a police officer outside of Memorial Stadium in Berkeley. In 1989, Muncie was sentenced to 18 months in a federal prison in California after he pleaded guilty to intending to sell 2 ounces of cocaine to a friend. His life turned around after prison, pursuing business interests and sharing stories of his drug problems with at-risk youths. Muncie said his time in prison likely saved his life. He worked with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. In 1997, he established the Chuck Muncie Youth Foundation in Antioch, California, just over the hill from where I grew up. Nonprofit organization mentored at-risk youth and provided free medical services, childhood immunizations, tattoo removal for gang members, and camps for chronically ill children. Muncie also led a program that mentored athletes at his alma mater in Berkeley. In his later years, he also ran a recruiting service evaluating high school football players.
Well, the question is, and then he died of a heart attack at 60. I don't know. Did he have a good life or a bad life? I'm trying to figure out Chuck Muncie's life.
The highs and the lows.
Yeah, that's the range of life.
Yes.
Being at the top of your game and beloved and being found under a bridge and being in prison.
Next to the stadium you're setting the records at. Yeah. I got to tell you, it's like I do this with Chuck Muncie. I'll do it with the Love Boat. People guest star in the Love Boat. Go look them up. It's like, it's crazy. It's all crazy.
And downs, the highs and lows.
Unbelievable.
Yes, but at least there's a lot there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quite a story.
What you don't want is nothing there. All right, let me tell you about Bright Cellars. Even a connoisseur like me, well, even for me, it can be hard to find a wine you love with Bright Cellars. You go to their website, you fill out a 7-question palate quiz about things you like, such as flavor types you like chocolate, what's an ideal setting to drink wine. Then they ship you 6 bottles based on your answers. Finding your new favorite wine has never been easier. I just was trying the Vanishing Act Pinot Noir, actually. That's why I brought it in here. It was delectable. Best part is, if you don't like a bottle, Bright Cellars offers a delight guarantee and will send you a replacement in your next order. Help support us by supporting Bright Cellars. Right, Dawson?
To help you find your new partner in wine, we're giving you 50% off your first 6-bottle box from Bright Cellars by going to brightcellars.com/ACS. Head to brightcellars.com/ACS. That's Bright Cellars, BRIGHTCELLARS.com/ACS. /ACS to receive 50% off your first 6-bottle order. Bright Cellars, helping you discover wine they'll love.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I got some phone calls. I got some more to share right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
I got a rich man, poor man. Never used Ticketmaster. You're either poor or you got an assistant. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
That's a good rich man, poor man.
You know the band, they just let you in VIP.
All right, let's see. We have the clip. Gio was able to find the clip from Loveline that I told you guys the whole Alec Baldwin story and how he became a Loveline fan or an Adam Carolla fan.
He was in the limo.
And no, well,
Or being driven.
Town car, yeah. And his driver used to tape Loveline, and they used to just pop in the cassettes and listen on their way to set. And then, but there was one particular story that got him enchanted with me. And it was from November 2002. It was with System of a Down.
I was there.
Brian was there.
I think I was, yeah.
Oh, in 02? Yeah, you must.
Late 02, I must have been around by then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-minute clip, and I haven't heard it since then, but it is the clip that Baldwin heard that inspired him to be such a fan of mine. So it'll be a little window into Baldwin's psyche, by the way.
All right, hey, Troy, here's the problem with this. I understand you want this, but if you talk her into it and she doesn't want to do it and she lets you do it,
forever.
She'll resent you for the rest of her life.
That's right.
Plus, you might crack her in half.
That's the problem. And do you like her? Do you love her?
Yeah, I love her. But
She's
Troy,
a good
help me
woman.
understand what that does for you. Just for my own understanding. Why is that important to you?
It doesn't do nothing for me. It's just something that I've never done. So therefore,
There's a lot of things I've never done that I don't particularly have to do.
Well, that's one thing I feel I have to do.
Why? What does it do for you? I'm just curious. What is it that it's?
No, it's like watching it on porn. It seems like something fun.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, listen, I got a great simulation. Troy, you listening?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Here's what you do. You take a jelly jar, and you cramp in it. Then you duct tape a bagel to the top of it, and then you rape it. All right.
You heat it up.
My
Put it in the
God.
microwave.
Put it in the microwave.
That's nasty.
I'm just saying that
Can you
that is a
dog-
reasonable
Can you
simulation.
use dog poop? Is that all right? There's lots of that around.
Yeah, I think the texture's a little different.
Just go to your house and find that popcorn canister.
And here's the deal: don't make the mistake I made and leave it in the microwave for like
2 minutes.
2 minutes because
Explode,
it'll
there you
catch
go.
on fire.
Oh.
Yeah,
The mistake I made?
Oh, the cleanup's horrible.
yeah. Just give it a warm up. Just give it a warm up.
10 seconds max.
That's right. All right, let's go vomit. Let's go vomit.
Forget about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you guys want to go
Not hungry
vomit?
anymore.
Talking about yams and cranberry sauce tonight. Talking about bagels and crap.
Bagels and
Sounds
poop.
good.
Yeah.
Great
All right.
show.
System of a Down is turn on the show now, bro.
Well, I don't want to talk about crap.
All right, well, no more.
No more crap.
All right, let's take a little break. Let's get our crap together. We'll be
Mr.
right
Hanky.
back.
Good, thanks.
There it is.
Wow. That's where he fell in love.
He was smitten. I think it was a kind of a pragmatism.
I think so. And I think a strong and reasonable use of the word rape.
Mm-hmm.
Because who's it hurting? A bagel?
You know what he liked?
What?
He liked my can-do spirit.
Oh, you
Literally in a can.
did it.
good.
Can duty.
All right, Rob is up there, line one from St. Paul, wants to pull balls for the early show Saturday. Rob?
Hey, guys.
Hi, Guy.
Hey, Bald. Hey, Gina. Hey,
Hey.
from Minnesota.
Hey.
Yeah, I definitely. I've been smelling your balls on a nightly basis here, thanks to the candle. I'd love to have an opportunity to handle them this weekend.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I like the cut of your jib. Well, tell me about yourself, Rob. The early show Saturday sold out, but I think there's a few tickets left for the late show if you guys want to come out to that. But what makes you qualified to be a ball puller?
Well, I used to be in the bingo back in the day when I got into my teens. Pretty regular bingo player.
A lot of people have trouble handling the hopper. They turn it the wrong way. The balls spill out. It is a Chinese fire drill up there on that stage. So you're already in the catbird seat. If you tell me you've got some time logged turning a bingo hopper. Keep going.
I do. Absolutely. Well, I have tickets to both shows. As soon as I heard you were coming to town, I locked both of those down. I work at a car dealership. I've been with us 25 years. I'm actually out in one of my parts vans right now. Try to find a little quiet space. It's hard to have a quiet moment in a service department. So
Rob, what part of St. Paul are you in?
Minnesota Mom?
Yeah, I want to know because
hey, Minnesota Mom.
Hi, I want to know where in St. Paul.
South of the cities there in Inver Grove Heights.
Oh,
just
sure.
South of St. Paul there.
Oh, yeah, the kids call it the Heights. They say, hey, Mom, we're going in the Heights because they saw the musical on HBO.
I think they called it that before the musical, though.
Oh, I thought it was from the musical. I thought the people were a little darker skinned on the musical than in St. Paul, but I don't judge. I love musicals.
Yeah, they're different color over
we
there.
become a lot more diverse here.
Oh, sure.
Say big Somali population.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mix them up. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so I've worked around cars for 25 years, and then I also have a part-time job, janitorial work, cleaning about 15, 20 hours a week. So when I leave my main job, I go clean office buildings, listen to the podcasts. I'm excited. Big fan of what you do.
What kind of car dealership do you work at? What makes?
Volkswagen. Currently, we're Volkswagen. When I started, we were Saturn, and then as we know, Saturn went away. One of my stores became Mitsubishi Suzuki, and I'm at our Volkswagen dealership. So we work on Volkswagens, and then I get phone calls for Audi and little Porsche stuff.
Some Jerry Lundegaard shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember Saturn. Saturn's whole thing was like, remember their whole sales pitch, what Saturn was? Saturn's
a different kind of car company.
It's a different kind of
no haggling? Or?
Yeah, it was like, here's the price. You don't have to haggle, which I guess was innovative and smart, except for the car was a piece of shit. So it's like, that was the only problem.
We weren't allowed to call them plastic. We had to refer to them as polymer.
Oh.
There was a lot of, hold on a second. Yeah, there was a whole thing where it's like the body panels, you could, take a shopping cart and bump into it and it would dent in and pop out. Like
I'm sold.
Oh, they were like on the brink of something, innovative. But they were still GM and they weren't, and it was still the 80s and 90s and they weren't able to get it together.
Growing up in Kansas, I thought people with Saturns were loaded. Like Saturns were nice for a minute.
Kansas 10s.
Okay.
Yeah, anything new seemed good when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So if you had a Chrysler K car, but it was 1981, you were like a winner because we're all driving VW Bugs. Sorry, Rob.
That's all right.
You went from Saturn to Isuzu.
Mitsubishi.
Suzuki and Mitsu for a little while, and then I transferred out to this Volkswagen store a while ago.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love parts. A lot of people talk about technicians or sales, but actually I think parts is the most interesting department. It's never boring. For somebody who likes to keep busy, it's a great place to work.
It is, now you say keep busy, but then you have sort of a part-time job. They don't do you full-time over there?
Yep, full-time at the dealership. So I work Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and then I go and clean from 6:30 till 10:30 or 11.
You need a raise, honey.
A break would be nice too.
Yeah.
What do they pay you an hour for both jobs?
I'm making just over 20 at the dealership and about 25 cleaning.
And
then at the dealership, we got bonuses and all the good stuff too.
You got a family to take care of?
No, actually, I am single. That's kind of a long story. I almost became a priest. Actually, I went back to college a few years ago, got my degree in philosophy. And if you're going to be a priest, you kind of have to give up the family thing. It didn't work out, so now I'm single. And,
Why? You seem like you're working a lot. Is there something you're saving for? Is there a plan?
Yeah, well, I'm saving up. During the COVID, I figured with everything locked down, it's a good time to make some extra money. But, I'd like to get away here within about 10 years or so. My dad has a cabin up north in northern Minnesota that I'd like to be able to move to.
Is it by Grand Rapids, where the home of Judy Garland?
What was that?
Is it by Grand Rapids?
Northeast of there. It's actually in a town called Babbitt.
Sure.
About 5 minutes south of the Boundary Waters canoe area, which is kind of big forest that we have up north.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. It's
All
about
right,
5 minutes
Rob.
away.
You've been passed on to anointed with the title of ball puller for the early show Saturday night. You get it. What other show you get a ticket for?
Well, I got tickets for both, so I'm going to go to the early show, find out something to do, and then come to the second show.
Well, thanks, Rob, and thanks for all your hard work.
And then you can relax during the late show because you're not working.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right, Rob. We'll see you on Saturday.
All
right. Chris is invited into a threesome with a combined 9.
Oh,
okay.
He's from Hoboken, New Jersey. Chris, 50, threesome.
Adam.
Carolla, what's up?
Hey, man. I have a new segment proposition for you called WAD.
WAD.
What would Adam do?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. We did What Would Adam Do? On the Man Show.
No.
Okay.
You can look up What Would Adam Do? We did one.
Piss on your
Wasn't
wallet.
there one about wiping your ass with a cat?
Yeah, there was. That's the only one I remember. The What Would Adam Do was me sitting on a toilet. I remember it very well. Bobcat Goldthwait directed. I was trapped on the toilet with no toilet paper. And what would Adam do?
You had a magazine in one hand and a cat walking by.
Grab a cat.
Yeah, but do not forget that bit was edited by Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, really?
Because there was a gag in there. I was at like my mother-in-law. You're at your mother-in-law's house. You drop a deuce. You're out of toilet paper. What would Adam do? And there was a cat walking by.
I remember the cat.
But there was, me and Bob, because, Bob's Bobcat. I was like, I wanted a Bible and like a porn magazine. Be like, which one do I desecrate? Like, which one do I rip
Who's taking text?
And Jimmy's like, no Bible. You can't do the Bible. And I was like, why? Because Jimmy's fairly Christian or Catholic or something. He's not devout, but
it means something.
It means something to him. Yeah.
He's a Saint John, for God's sake.
He wouldn't do the bit where I had sex with my mom. That was supposed to be him. He was like, I'm not going to do that bit. So the man does have scruples.
He has standards.
He has standards. Right, even if they interrupt my creative flow. Chris, tell me about we'll see if we can find that bit, but I want to know about your threesome.
Well, I was invited into a threesome. This was someone I had met online, just the one person, and we met up, and she asked if I'd be interested in going in with her girlfriend. She was actually, I guess, bi, whatever. And I'm already in over my head. Mm-hmm. And I meet with them, and like I said, a combined 9, love nice people, whatever. And I'm for it. I'm recently single, and I'm looking for new experiences, but I'm intimidated.
How does the combined 9 break down?
I'm going to say a 4, and was the person that I initially had met up with, and then her girlfriend partner was 5.
So she had a friend who looked just like her, but it had braces.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Bigger women, but it was fun.
Nothing wrong with that.
Possibly, and not just fine. Average 4s and 5s.
All right. Wait, hold
know.
on. We now have What Would Adam Do? I think the Man Show bit.
Yeah, breaking
Hang on
news.
a second. Yeah, from 2002. We'll get the sound figured out in a second. We'll play you that. I can't remember. I must have done a series of What Would Adam Do, but I think it was toward the end. So I didn't think
02 was the end of the show, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it was 01.
I'm just saying 02
yeah.
was when the show.
Oh, I don't know if this is from 02 or not.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just throwing a date out there. But I think I remember shooting it I remember a handful of bits we shot that were sort of toward the end of our run. So here it is. Sorry.
Tough decisions. We put together this important educational series titled, What Would Adam Do?
The Man Show presents, What Would Adam Do? You're visiting your mother-in-law. She's out of toilet paper. Do you A, use your favorite magazine, or B, use your sock?
What would Adam do?
With the magazine aside, I spot something. A large white Persian cat.
Wait a second.
The best part is you're holding him on a scruff.
Wait, that was a real cat.
Yeah, it was pawing at him to get free.
Hey, man.
It's fucking
Listen,
method.
I'm a crowd pleaser. That's method. That's right.
Thanks, Stella Adler.
Wow.
Yeah, no magazine, no sock. I
Cat's
reached out of the
traumatized.
picture and introduced the large white
big
Persian
Persian-
cat.
You had the cat by the scruff.
I know he's not
Well,
happy.
how else am I going to pull off the one-hand backside reach around, you know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, don't blame
I
him.
can't grab it by the rib cage.
No.
It never would.
Yeah, the tail.
And we had to we when we pulled out, you could see the kitty litter cat box in the foreground.
Good
Strong
detail.
production. Yeah, that Bob Cabot's a hell of a director, you know?
Yeah, he's done some things.
He does some good movies
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know if there were any others. That is the only one I recall, but maybe there were others. All right, let's see. Where were we? Oh yeah, Chris.
Yeah, well, we got to bring that bit back, man, because I think you need to answer a lot of unanswered questions like mine. What would you do?
Well, I go with the tabby.
The morning of the event, I got a text from my initial, contact telling me that she just started her period.
Sweet.
Is there an emoji for that?
Well, this was many years ago. So this is before the emoji
Should
stuff.
tell him
This
face to
was
face.
the great,
I gotcha.
the flip phone thing. And yeah, so she's like, just so you know, I just started my period, but all good.
Oh,
but all good.
Game on.
Wait, no, that should be all good? Question mark, because that's kind of up to you at that point.
Now,
Actually, Gina, you may be corrected.
Thank you.
The grammar, I'm a little off, but like they were fine with it.
Got it.
Wait, hold on. Is that the kind of thing where you go, oh, I'll be happy to pick you up from the airport. I do have the flu, but I'll be happy to let you ride in my smart car. And then
Wriggling out.
you go,
yeah.
you know what? Just why don't we?
I'll grab a
I'm
cab.
fine.
I
I'll
could
get
come
an
into work
Uber.
today, but
Right.
I got a nasty cold.
Yeah, that's her saying I'm down with it, but you're gonna.
Yeah, I'll give you the out.
You're gonna put the kibosh on this. Well, yeah. What'd you do, Chris?
Well, I caved. I chickened out, but here's the thing: the wrinkle to your hypothesis is they were pissed. Like she seemed pissed at me, like I was being unreasonable, which is why it's always been a lingering question. Like, was I being weird? Like like OCD or something? Like weird that this is a thing for me. It's an honest question. Like their reaction made me rethink.
When
my
you think
thinking.
about it, Chris, there's two women and you, plenty of orify. So that didn't need to necessarily be an issue.
This show's taking a turn for the scat today,
I'm
man.
just saying, there's other choices, but I feel you.
I guess sharing fluids with strangers 10 years. This was a couple years ago. I got skittish about it.
I get you. It's
And
not a woman's favorite.
The reaction confused me.
Yeah.
I will say.
Mm-hmm. So, did you ever pick it up, or did you just kind of?
No.
Nope,
it was
burnt.
Yeah.
One and done.
Well,
they
look,
love me.
in a way, I feel the same way about a threesome as I do about being propositioned by a gay guy. Not gay, but it would be nice
Thanks for the compliment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think being asked to be in a threesome most of the news a guy needs. You
It's
know what I
quite the
mean?
endorsement.
A threesome is awesome, but just knowing that you're in the hunt.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let me tell you guys about Kreg Tool, this beautiful Kreg pocket hole jig, 520 Pro, most versatile pocket hole jig ever built. Works with a wide variety of material. Great for all types of indoor and outdoor wood projects. It's a 520 Pro. It comes with everything you need, drill and driver bits, so you can drive the screws with one bit and drill it with the other. Material gauge, it's classic face clamp, 100 Kreg pocket hole screws, special screws for doing it this way. Project plan retails for just $99.99.
The
Yeah,
insane thing in your hand?
yes, it is a jig that you use if you're putting things together. It's very hard to do it, especially if you're alone. It takes a bunch of clamps. There's bar clamps, face frame clamps, clamp straps, and everything. But with this,
Sound like Bubba Gump.
you just do it. You just ratchet it in like
Almost like a hand vise.
And then they have the different size holes. And you drop it in, and you fasten it. You can make your own furniture. You can make your own cabinetry. You can storage your garage. Everyone's got a garage. Needs some storage. You call one of those garage storage companies. Your mind would be blown by how expensive those cabinets are. Just do it yourself. Go in your garage and make it yourself with your Kreg joiner. You can use our pocket hole jig. You can go to like Home Depot or whatever, and you can buy all the blanks. Like you can buy the stuff like you see in a custom closet, the stuff that's vinyl coated and white or like pre-drilled. Buy it, just cut it to length and fasten it together with your Kreg Jig 520 Pro. Yes, feel it.
It looks
There's
cool.
heft. It has heft, and it is substantial. It's available nationwide, and you can also get it at Home Depot. You can get it at Lowe's if you like. You can get it at home centers, woodworking, hardware stores. And look, people, I've been saying it since COVID, but actually before COVID, get to the garage and get busy. Get your sanity back. Get a project going. And if you're going to get a project going, buy a couple of decent tools to help facilitate that whole thing. It's the Kreg. It is the 520 Pro pocket hole jig, and you can get it, just about anywhere you get tools. You learn more at KregTool.com. That is KREG Tool.com, and get going with your projects, people. All right, Sammy the Bull is here. We'll take a quick break, and we'll talk to him right after this.
Do you want to be a part of Adam's next book?
Sometimes I do.
Submit your questions for Ask an Asshole by emailing them to askhole@adamcarolla.com. Please include your name, age, and location. Ask about any topic you need the Ace Man's advice or answers on. That's ASKHOLE@adamcarolla.com.
Sammy the Bull Gravano is our guest. Got a podcast, Our Thing with Sammy the Bull. New episodes each week on Pod TV, on the Pod TV app, or you can download them wherever you listen to podcasts. Good to see you, Sammy the Bull.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
So, Underboss. What can you walk us through sort of the rankings of the Mafia? Like, where do you start? Like I used to be a carpenter, you got apprentice, and then you got carpenter, then you get journeyman carpenter, then you get foreman, you know what I mean?
Underforeman.
Underforeman. Can you give us the sort of the pecking order?
The weirdest thing is I was a carpenter at one point, so I know about that order. But this one here is you become an associate. An associate is not a made member. It's just somebody that they have around them, is with them. They don't know all the rules. They were around for years. The next step is becoming a made member in the Mafia. The next step above a made member. Now, a made member, let me stay with that for a second, because he gets a crew of associates. And everything they do, goes to this maid member. The maid member has a captain. They call him a gabardine or a captain. And he has 8, 10, 12, 15 maid members under him.
Mm-hmm.
Above that is the administration. There's the boss, the underboss, who's the boss's right-hand man and does just about everything for the boss. And then there's the consigliere of the family. The consigliere is like an advisor and a lawyer. If there's a problem between a captain or a maid member with the boss, there's some sort of beef. It's not a good beef. You always wind up losing against the boss. But he comes in and tries to soften the whole thing and straighten it out. And his other function is to go out to other families, very, very knowledgeable about the rules of Cosa Nostra, and he goes out and sits with the other families and on beefs in different situations, from businesses that they control, unions that they control, and it's just like a whole.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, it's the army with private and sergeant, corporals, and I mean, it's like anything. It goes
hierarchy.
up.
Right.
But so if you're an associate, that's low man on the totem pole, right?
Yes.
How do you figure out how much you get paid?
You don't get paid. There's no pay. You use the power of Cosa Nostra to do something. I'll give you an example. You open up a bakery. A legitimate guy opens up a bakery and he has to make the bread and pizza and whatever he's making in this bakery. He has to impress the people in the neighborhood, to bring them in, to be successful. And Cosa Nostra, if you're a maid guy and you open up a bakery, the captain, the people in the family tell them, Joe Blow has this bakery. He automatically has 50 to 100 customers, whether they want to eat there or not, or whether they like the bread or not. So it's a hell of a lot easier for him to succeed. So we help them. If you're in the construction business, we control unions. So we can help you in the construction industry or any industry, the garment, the garbage, no matter what industry you're in. So money always goes up. It doesn't come down. You don't get a pay. So whatever you make, you give a piece to your maid guy if you're an associate. The maid guy gives a piece of what he's got, maybe from 4, 5, 6 different associates, to his captain. The captain gives a piece to the boss. The boss generally could share with the underboss and the consigliere whatever percentage he wants to do, or do it at all. But it doesn't matter, because an underboss and a consigliere, when they're at that high in position, they have money and they're making money all over the place anyway, with or without him.
So when you see those gangster mob movies, you know, Goodfellas and stuff like that, does that ring true to you, or does it seem, oh, this is BS? Or, I mean, how does that, and like stuff like, you know, Ray Liotta couldn't be made because he was Irish or half Irish or something like that.
I was just going to say The Irishman, the movie that came out more recently.
2 questions. Let me
But the
ask.
same type of movie.
Yeah.
Come on, Jim.
Well, Goodfellas, there was a lot of truth in that movie. Nick Pileggi wrote it, was behind it, and he's a type of guy in Hollywood, he goes after the truth. I know him. But that was very well done. You see the part where when you went to the Copacabana and you walked down the stairs in the basement, through the kitchen and went in. Now, when I was just an associate with the Colombo family, I did that many times. Carmine Persico had a table in there, and if I had a date and nobody was going there, I could use it, and I would go down the basement through the kitchen and sit at that table and eat with a couple of guys.
Did you know the guys portrayed in the film? Did you recognize some of the principals?
Yeah, sure, of
Sure, I
course.
figured you would.
I knew them all. Matter of fact, Paul Vario was the boss, the heavyset guy. He was the boss. When he died, me and John Gotti went to his funeral with a bunch of guys. So I knew that crew. I didn't know everybody in that crew, but I knew some of them. So what was that other question?
I was
Irishman?
just thinking about The Irishman and a little more of a recent.
Well, can you be made if you're not fully Italian?
Years ago when it first came here, you had to be Italian on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But after they were here for years, a lot of them married Jewish women, Irish women, whatever, different women.
Right.
So they changed that rule to say you only have to be Italian on your father's end. You carry his name, you are what your father is. It really didn't work that well because nobody could tell you that you're not influenced by your mom. You're probably influenced by your mom more than a father. She's there when you're sick. She gives birth to you. I mean, but they did that. It's because there was a lot of guys who had John Gotti, his son, he was married to, I think she's Russian Jew or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so John Jr. is not...
Right, not full-blooded Italian.
No, and that happened a lot.
All right, sorry, Jimmy.
I was just thinking about that. That's a more recent example. I know it's based on the book. I heard you paint houses. The Irishman with the cast back together, Joe Pesci and Rob De Niro. Any thoughts on that movie?
The movie was pretty good. A lot of bullshit. The Irishman did not do that. He wrote in the book that he killed Jimmy Hoffa. And that,
pretty clearly.
But that's a sham. He didn't do it.
Interesting.
What happened with Jimmy Hoffa is that Jimmy Hoffa was well regarded in the Mafia. He ran the unions, the trucking, and he was with the Mafia, and he turned in all the time. And he got in trouble with the Kennedys, and he went away. When he went away, they put somebody else in there. I forget his name, but they put somebody else in there who took his place and did the same exact thing. When Jimmy Hoffa came out of prison, they grabbed him. They said, listen, you were great with us. You did the right thing. There's nobody knows the union like you. We're going to put you with this guy. You can't go back legally into the union. So you could work with him. The money will go from him to you. We'll give you a piece of the pie, and then it comes to us. He told them, no, it's his union. From what I was told in the union, they said, in the meeting, they said, this isn't a candy store. This isn't yours. This is ours. We tell you if you're going to run it or you're not going to run it or what you're going to do. He refused. There was a guy in the Genovese family who got the contract to go down, him and his guy, Crazy something or other, whatever his name was, and they went down and killed him because he wouldn't conform, more or less. This guy, the Irishman, made up a story, wrote a book. They took it, they ran with it. I don't know who they talked to. I don't think they talked to anybody.
Literally in the movie, he goes, and that's how it happened. It was as simple as that. Like we've all been making too big of a deal of the mystery.
Well, yeah. I mean, that he's in New Jersey under a stadium.
Right.
And he's over here. I can't picture going down to Ohio or Detroit to kill somebody and they want you to put him in a trunk and drive him back 14 fucking hours.
It's inefficient.
I would have never did that. That's stupid. I mean, I think they buried him over there. Whatever they did with him. That part of it I don't know, but I know that.
You could get pulled over for bleeding taillights.
Right. And now you're in a shootout or killing a cop because a body's in there. It's the furthest thing, I think, from the truth.
Right.
It made for good Hollywood, but that's about all it made.
So you have 19 people you're accused of murdering, right?
Well, I'm participating in 19 murders. Yes.
Come on.
Sorry. All right. And I think the general population sort of thinks of it, in a way, I guess they think of it as like gang shootings. Like if a Crip shoots a blood, we kind of keep walking. If the bullet goes stray and hits the kid in the crib, then we make a big kerfuffle about it because it just feels like this is what they signed up for. Is there anybody you were involved with killing where you went, this guy's a good guy, or I don't want to do this, or were they all just kind of in it?
No, I liked and loved a bunch of people who were killed, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. But there's rules in Cosa Nostra. It's like anything else in life. There's rules. You have to obey these rules. There's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. Louis Melito was a close friend of mine. We went for hunting, fishing, grew up as kids. I saved him twice for things he did. I went to the top and saved him. And then on the third time, John Gotti was in control and just said, that's the end. He's got to go.
What were the first two things he did, and then what was the last thing he did?
The first thing he did is he betrayed us. When there was a conspiracy amongst us to kill Castellano, he knew the grumbling, he knew of the problems. I was getting in trouble with Castellano for things. I got in trouble 2-3 different times with him. And Louis got nervous saying to one of my crew, Sammy's, he's going to wind up getting killed. So he segregated himself from us and did his own thing. Unbeknownst to me or my crew, he made an arrangement with Paul Castellano and Tommy Bellotti, went partners with him in the Sherlock business. He played the fence. He knew there would eventually be a war. So if Castellano and Bellotti win, he's on their side. If we win, he's on our side. Now, here's how I know that. When he went away to prison, Louis, so he wasn't part of the plotting, he wasn't part of anything. When we talked, me and Frankie DeChico talked with DB, Robert DiBernardo, he didn't want to talk in front of me. And Frankie told him, you talk in front of Sammy, what's the problem? He had his head hanging. He said he betrayed you. And he told us about this meeting and this marriage between them. Frankie DeChico wanted to kill him immediately when he came out. He didn't get out yet. I tried to talk to Frankie. Frankie didn't want to hear it. 4 months after we killed Paul Castellano, Frankie DeChico was killed. Louis was coming out of prison. I talked with John Gotti, and I saved him. I told John Gotti we grew up together. I know the whole family. His daughter sits on my lap, calls me Uncle Sammy. John Gotti said, okay. So I saved him.
Do you tell him you saved him?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And does he believe you fully?
Oh, sure, he believes us. He knows the story. We took the book. We offered when Tommy was dead. We know exactly what he did, what he was doing, and he knew we knew. So anyway, I just tell him, you're going to be with me. I was already a full-blown captain. I was already almost to the point where they were going to make me the Gunziata family. And he has a talk with Joey Bellotti. I had saved him as well. And he said, we're in the same boat. Sammy's in such a powerful position. I think we're in trouble. Joey Bellotti said, no. He saved me in a meeting. I had a fist fight with a main guy. He represented me. I'm not in this fucking boat that you're in or talking about. Don't even talk to me about shit like that. You could be killed for this. That came out. He was talked to again. I saved him a second time.
You tell him you saved him a second time?
Yeah, well, he knows. He was called in by John.
I feel like there's a lot of guys I went to high school with. I didn't have to kill him or anything, but like I just went, here's what you're doing. Here's what's going to happen. Stop it.
Yeah. Why would there be a second time?
Fuck it. I'm doing it.
Well, he's a little stupider than that because he did it a third time.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
So when I became the Gonzaga, I put Big Louis Valerio in, not him. He was the last guy I would put in. And now he started complaining and being, you shouldn't be the captain. I should be the captain. I'm the tough guy. Louis Valerio went to John Gotti and said, listen, I don't want this guy with me. He's disrespectful. Put him with somebody else. He didn't ask to get him killed. He just wanted to put him somewhere else. John Gotti called me in and said, listen, Sammy, 3 strikes. It's over. Mind your business and don't talk. I gave the hit out, and it's going to get done. Now, I told this story before, so I'll continue this, is that I told John, let me be there. Why do you want to be there? I said, because he's stupid. He's got balls, like bowling balls. That's why he's dying. He did nothing disrespectful, dishonorable. I don't want somebody spitting on him, kicking him. I don't want it. I want him to die immediately with no struggle, no fucking I want it to be done right. He deserves to die like a man. And he allowed me to be there. Wow. That was my part in that murder. I should have shut my fucking mouth. That wouldn't have even been on my sheet. So when you say, did you save somebody? Yes. When we killed Tommy Bellotti, there was a meeting with Joe Watts and a few guys. I'll give you Joey Bellotti.
Well, hold on a second. Let me circle back to the first gentleman. So you have, he's already called out the hit, so it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So now it's just whether you can be witness to it or not.
Right.
And is it always a pistol, or is there many different ways? Because it seems like you're saying I want to do it fast and clean versus some other way.
I'm a hit guy. So you want to ask me directly what I can use? I'll kill you in any fucking which way I want. With a hammer, with a knife, with a gun. It doesn't matter.
Let me move this can.
Yes, move that can.
So I'll put it over here closer to Brian.
Right next to me.
Yeah,
it's
but
called liquid death.
So it is true. So so you go, and by the way, there's different modalities depending on what you think of the person. Is that correct?
No, not really. I mean, there's reasons why guys die, like I just explained, and you can like the guy or love the guy. You can't control it.
So just walk us through. So you go, all right, here's the night we're going to do this, or the day we're going to do this. Everyone's on the same page. You know where the person lives or where they hang out, or how, give us the nuts and the bolts of it.
We always go to the person that you're the closest with, who's also a maid guy or a captain or whatever he is. And he's the guy who's going to set you up.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to call you into a meeting. You trust him. You come into the meeting, and you'll find 2-3 guys in there, and you get whacked.
Right.
So it all determines on what the situation is. Of course, we know we're in each other's houses, in and out of each other's houses like Goodfellas. I mean, we know where we live. We want to keep it away from in front of a family member, in front of a woman, in front of legitimate people, so nobody gets hurt other than you. So we try to do all those things. It depends on the situation.
So how did this one play out?
Louis Melito?
Yeah.
He was told that he was going to be used on a hit, that he was going to kill somebody. This guy, Johnny Gamarano, a made guy that John Gotti hated, and he knew it. And he was called to a club to talk about the hit. The hit was on him, and he died in that club.
And does he have, how long, I mean, again, I only know what I see from movies. Is it sort of instantaneous that he realizes it's him and he's dead, or is there some discussion?
You don't even realize it. If the guy comes up behind him and shoots him in the back of the head, you're dead instantly. There's no suffering, there's no pain, there's no nothing. You just completely collapse. You're dead, especially if it's a high-powered. If it's a 357 Magnum in the back of the head, it just blows your fucking brains out. You're dead instantly. There's no suffering, there's no nothing. If you had to die, if I had to die, I would rather die like that than of cancer or anything else. It is instantaneous.
And at some point, you go into the witness protection program. We'll skip around here. How worried were you after turning state's witness? Were you, and then why, if you were worried, would you leave the witness protection program?
I wasn't worried at all.
And why not?
Because I am a hit guy, and I understood the life, and I understand what's coming. I'm ready for it. I went in the program for one reason. When I got sentenced, the first time my first sentence, I got 5 years. They begged me to go in the program. I didn't want to go in the program. I had money. I didn't want to go in the program. They made the prosecutors call me, and everybody called me, and they said, Sammy, the government's going to look like a complete asshole. You don't go in.
Sorry. What do you care?
Well, I do care, because they did a nice thing. I mean, I did 5 years on multiple murders, so I think that's pretty good. That's why I cared. So I says, okay, I'll give you 1 year. And I went in for 1 year. I lasted 8 months. Some woman recognized me. She was right around me. They wanted me to start over. I wouldn't do it. And I left in 8 months. And I went to Phoenix, Arizona, where my family was. And I left the program. And I stayed in Arizona. I was armed most of the times.
Mm-hmm.
So I was ready for whatever. And maybe that answers the question of how worried I was.
Well, can you walk us through what it's like to go into the witness protection program? Like, they give you a name. Can you get to pick your own name?
Pick
Do
where
they
you
give you
go.
regions to pick from?
They give you can pick regions. Here's what I did when I first got out. When they asked me to do this. And I refused. And then they took me down to Washington. There was big meetings. And I said, I'll give you 1 year under conditions. I'm talking to a guy named Peter Moss. I want to meet with him. I'm going to do a book. I want a vacation with my wife, my ex-wife. And I want to meet somebody from ABC. Diane Sawyer wants to do an interview with me. I want those things to happen. And then I'll go in the program. They did those things. They met all of those requirements. They did change my name from Salvatore Gravano to Jimmy Moran, an Irish name. They moved me. The first place I went was to Texas. I went to Houston, Texas. I was there for about 2 weeks. Something came up, and they said, we have to move you. They don't tell you why, but they have to move me. I went to Dallas, Texas. 2 weeks, they had to move me again. I went to Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. I stayed there. You can't have any family members, any friends, anybody, no contact with your past. There's 8 million rules to this thing.
Do they have agents or personnel that are around you?
U.S. Marshals.
And they're just plain clothes?
Yeah.
And you get X amount assigned to you depending on...
No, they don't really follow it. Listen, their office was downtown in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
One day, I didn't go out, and they said, are you afraid to go out? I said, no. I don't know even where to go. I was never here. So one of the marshals says, were you ever to Boulder, Colorado? I said, no. This weekend, you want us to take you there? We'll take you for a ride. This one guy, he took me out there. I loved it. Paths in there, college kids. It's a college town. It was beautiful. Streams, rivers, the whole 9 yards. There was a big sign out there, apartments for rent. And I said, could we go in and look? We went in and looked. When I went in, the guy says, what do you want? Near the clubhouse? You want it in the woods? Do you want it on the river? The apartment? I said, yeah, let me see the apartment on the river. And it was, you'd walk out the back door. The river came right up to the building. Your patio went out over the river. It was gorgeous. So I took that apartment. It was 45 minutes away from headquarters, and I wanted to get away from headquarters. So it's a pain in the ass. They'd have to call me to come, or they may not find me home. So I stayed there. I met a young college girl. I was 50. And I talked with her. I was out every night. I talked with her. I wound up hanging out with her.
Do they give you a stipend? They give you like $1,200 a month or something, or a credit card?
They give you, I don't even remember what it was. I had a couple of $1 million, so I don't even remember. It was a couple $100 a month, I think, whatever they gave me.
But you had your own money.
I had my own money. And so I was there. And I went out with her a few times, and I told her some bullshit stories that I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, I didn't have all this, and I was there for a project, a construction project, and I couldn't conceal what it was about because there's competitors who come and buy the land. And I did all that bullshit. And one day I got a call, and a woman said, did you watch Discovery Channel? It was a channel. I don't remember which one it was. I think Discovery Channel. She says, I know who you are. She hung up on me. As soon as she hung up, I knew it was her. So All of a sudden, a couple of days later, I get a call from the marshals, be home, we want to come and see you. I said, okay. It was snowing. They came, I had a car there, I had bought a car. On the windshield of my car and on the door was a couple of letters from her. You lied to me, I love you, all this bullshit. I know who you are, why did you do this to me? So the marshals said, yeah, look at these letters. They had them. They might still have them. So I said, all right, it doesn't matter, bro. Well, what's the matter? He says, you have to start over again because she knows who you are. We want you to go to Seattle, Washington. We're going to change your name again, and we're going to start over. No, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I told you a year. I'm in 8 months. I'm not doing that.
Do they pick regions where they have bases, offices, or do they look for the sort of least amount of mafiosa types? Or how do they base where they put you?
They have offices in different states, all over the United States. They do have offices all over the place. U.S. Marshals are everywhere. It's a special group that handles these people. They know, like when they moved me in Texas, they must have had people there and afraid I would bunk into them. Not a threat. They probably had other witnesses there, and they didn't want us to bunk into one another.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably why they met.
You must have stuck out a little bit in places like Houston and Dallas. I mean, there's not a lot of guys like you walking around.
Why? What makes you think I would
I don't know.
stick
Just
out?
feel like you're a certain type of guy. And there's fewer of those types of guys. In
I look
Houston.
just like you. We got the same haircut.
That's a good point. Actually.
Maybe the accent.
Perhaps
The accent?
certain things about it.
Could be the pinky ring.
I had a New York accent. Maybe the pinky ring. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little on the short side and I talk rough. I don't know.
So after 8 months,
She fell in love with me, Buck.
I know. I'm not disputing that. I'm
So what the
simply
fuck?
saying.
She didn't run away.
you said after 8 months, I'm out.
I'm out. I says, I'm not going. I gave you 8 months. I'll give you the other 4 months, but I'm not starting over. They said, you have to. That's the rule. And I said, fuck it. Give me the paper. I quit. I'm out.
Do they, so now you're on your own. You're kind of in charge of yourself after you leave the program.
Yes, and
right?
I went back to Arizona, and I'm on my own.
Any credible threats? See anything? Any attempts?
Well, at the end, here's what happened. When I first got to Arizona, Joe Bonanno was still alive, the original Joe Bonanno. He was sitting in a meeting in Tucson, Arizona. Him, his son Salvatore Bonanno, who was the Gonzalez family when they were in New York, and another maid guy. The maid guy was a CI, a confidential informant.
Mm-hmm.
He was taping this conversation. Joe Bonanno told his son, I hear this Sammy the Bull came down in Arizona. Make an appointment, I want to talk with him. Salvatore Bonanno said, listen, fuck him. He's a rat. What do you want to talk with him for? And Joe Bonanno says, you don't want to learn. This guy is dangerous. If he wants to take over Arizona, some of us, maybe us, are going to be in a trunk, and he's going to push. So they sent somebody to talk to me about an appointment. In the meantime, that guy who was wired, the FBI in Arizona knew about this conversation. And they were getting in touch with the New York FBI. When the guy came to talk to me about this meeting, I told him, I have the utmost respect for the old man. I will meet with him on my terms if he wants to talk to me. And he told me the conversation. So I said, he has nothing to worry about. I have no interest in taking over Arizona. I have no interest in killing anybody. All I want is to be left alone. 1, 2, nobody in my family fucked with. Or I will go on the warpath.
And a couple of college-age girls, maybe.
Maybe. But anyway, he sent word back. He said, tell Sammy I appreciate the message. Then there's no need for a meeting. And matter of fact, if anybody bothers him, we're in his circle. Let me know, and I'll help him. We didn't meet. A day after that, the FBI from New York got in touch with me and told me, were you going to meet with Joe Bonanno? Yeah. You're on parole. Yes, so what? But it's a violation if you would meet with him. Why were you going to meet with him? And I told them the story. And they knew the story from the Arizona FBI, so they just dropped it, left it alone. That's how I started back in there. And then a whole bunch of things happened. This ecstasy story you're going to lead into, I guess.
Sure. Well, yeah, whatever you want. I mean,
no, you're the boss here, bro.
I'm just an associate here. Yeah. So there's no real. I mean, is there a sense of like when the old guard dies, you don't have to worry as much about the new guys coming up because there's like almost a turning of the page for guys like you? I mean, they must have had contracts out on you at some point.
They did. There was a contract out on me. Peter Gotti, after John was away, put it on me, and they came down. This guy Huck, who was in my crew, this other guy, Fat Sally, and they found where I was. They were watching me. But they were afraid to make the move. Huck had told this Fat Sally, you go, he don't know you. I'm telling you, this guy will not run. He'll kill us. He's not going to run away. He's going to come at us. And they were afraid to come near me. So they tried to design some sort of a bomb or a thing that goes around and shoots shotgun cells.
Wow.
Took them 7 months while they watched me. And I got busted. And they got busted because that Fat Sally went and do drugs when they were waiting back and forth, got pinched, he ratted, and told the whole story.
So guys were sent. They didn't know where you were.
Well, no, they knew where I was. I wasn't hiding.
And how many years after you were released from prison was this?
Well, I only wound up, when I came out, I was out 5 years. 8 months I was in the program. So 4 years later, a little over 4 years, I was back in prison for this ecstasy ring that I supposedly took over Arizona and pushed into this ecstasy and took it over.
Didn't you? Well, so there was a contract on you years after you got out of prison, though, as well.
Yeah.
But they knew you had a gun and they knew you would use it, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they didn't feel comfortable coming at you.
No.
They couldn't get you into a situation like you were talking about in the past where you told someone, hey, we got a job for you, and then they come in and get hit. Sort of a Joe Pesci, Goodfellas kind of.
He was getting made, but yeah.
Kind of way. Yeah, they tell you you're coming in for something and you get something else. So for you, with the whole ecstasy thing, you must know you're on the radar of the feds and the government or everyone else. Like, you can't fly under the radar, can you? Or are they keeping an eye on you? Do they know where you are? Like, it seems foolhardy to get involved with illegal behavior if you're...
It's a long story, I mean, because I really didn't do all what they said I did. So I'm going to make you hear my podcast, and you could hear that whole thing because I'm going to get paid on that podcast to talk about it.
I'll give a plug to the podcast, by the way.
Good.
Our thing with Sammy the Bull, new episodes each week, and you can download it wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, so we all love movies, so best mob movie of all time.
Godfather
Most
1.
realistic, sorry.
Godfather 1, Godfather 2, very realistic. Not only about the mob, but Italian people, the weddings and everything that just felt that's just like us. Goodfellas is another great movie. There's quite a few of them, to be honest.
Do you feel like, so there used to be a code, kind of stuff you were talking about, keep the wife and the family out of it, you know, the code. Is there still a code? I mean, I don't know how much of the Mafia is left, but I feel like the code feels like how people used to dress when they flew on commercial airlines in the 60s, and now it's devolved into sweatpants and flip-flops, and it's a free-for-all on a Southwest flight. Like, is that kind of what happened to the Mafia code?
That's a great example.
Thank you.
That really is. But yes, that's exactly what happened to it. They don't kill anymore. It's not the same Mafia. It's and now they're generations and generations away from Italy and people who had that. You know, they're way away from it, and they come in. They're different. I was with guys in prison who said they were going to get made. I bumped into guys. Yeah, I was going to get made. What they want you to do. You can't do murders. You can't do anything super illegitimate. Stay away from heavy drugs. Work in the stock market. Work this, work that. Pay your end up or do construction. That's the mafia.
Well, what is the mafia today? I mean, how much of it?
That's the mafia today.
That it exists. To what extent do you think?
I think it exists. I know it exists, but they got smart. They don't do murders. Here's what happens. Years ago, there was 14, 15, 16 agents on every single family. Now, those agents are not on those families. They're not killing. They're not doing crazy crimes. So what they're doing is there's 2 agents or 3 agents per family, and they go after MS-13 or all these weird fucking gangs killing people and innocent people. So they break it down, and the mafia is Shylock and bookmaking, the stupid crimes that you're not going to do big time. And they're also afraid of guys cooperating. Hundreds of guys cooperated, hundreds. And the streets, I think, right now is loaded with CIs, confidential informants. So if me and you go on ahead, and him, the whole 3 of us go on ahead, we all have a get-out-of-jail card free.
I'm driving.
Wheelman.
It doesn't matter whether you're driving or pulling the trigger, it don't matter. But we all have a get-out-of-jail card free. We go out and we get away with it. 3 years later, he gets pinched for drugs. You're the drug dealer, you look like.
Yeah.
But, so you're going to be the drug dealer, and you flip on me and him.
I'm weak.
You don't do no
easy.
time. Your 20 years is wiped out. Me and him go to jail. And they know that now. So the whole mafia is different.
A good note to take a break on. Gina's got the news. Sammy, I'll give a plug. Our thing with Sammy the Bull, new episodes on the Pod TV app. And again, you can download wherever you listen to podcasts. And then also he's going to be a guest on my motivational podcast, Take a Knee. That'll be up on Monday. All right, we'll take a quick break. Sammy, you can hang out. You can take a break. You can do whatever you want. We'll do a quick news, and we'll be right back right after this.